class 3 of the How to Collage Quirky Characters series. My name is Joanne, and today I'm going to show you how to make this quirky character, which is called Home Sweet Home. Now you're going to need a few things in order to get started. The link to the collage sheets is in the description box below, so you're going to need that. And then you're going to need a pair of large scissors for the rough cuts and a pair of small scissors for the intricate cuts, a bone folder, a glue stick. You'll want some pens so that you can write, doodle around the edge of the drawing and write whatever you want here. In this case, I wrote Home Sweet Home. I used micron pens, but you can also use the Faber-Castell Pitt pens or even a Sharpie. You're also going to need a soft cloth. This is an old t-shirt, and this will help you burnish your pieces down so they stick well. We're going to use this paper, which is paper number 2 from Follow Your Bliss, and it's printed on plain copy paper, 20-pound weight, and I've used this on an inkjet printer. We're going to cut this in half. Last time for Rosebud we used this half of it, and so this time we're going to use this. And it'll look like this when you cut it down. It's going to be 4 1/4 by 8 3/8. And you will probably have a white edge along here from what your printer leaves. And don't worry about that. Just don't cut it off. You want to keep that. We'll put our border over that. And then you also want to measure your 8 3/8 starting at this end. So here's the whole paper. So starting at this end, you do want to cut off this 1/4 inch on the bottom. Measure your 8 3/8 starting here to this end. The other thing that I forgot to mention to you last time when I told you to cut your paper was this black piece right here. Though some of it will be covered up by the house when we put that on, if you're not using a house, it's going to show. So I had a leftover piece from this, and this is what we used for Tenny Bird, and you probably have a leftover piece also. And I just place it right over this. I just glue it down right over that black area, and it covers it up totally, and it'll just assimilate right into the background, and we'll just collage right over that. So you might want to do that too. You could use any paper that you have. Don't worry about if you don't have this exact one. Just put something over that to help cover up that black. And I think that's everything you're going to need. So let's get started. So let's talk a little bit about how I created Home Sweet Home. Now I started with the idea that I wanted to do the collage series, and I needed to make some prototypes. So my prototypes were made in a different order than I'm teaching the class. Veronica was the first one that I made, and after her came Tenny Bird, and then Rosebud, and then this Home Sweet Home. And by the time I got to Home Sweet Home, my collage sheets look like Swiss cheese, which is, yours are probably starting to look like that now because I had cut it up so much. But one thing that I knew I wanted to do was use the octopus legs in a piece. Now I had created a girl, a bird, a girl, so I decided I was going to use another bird. And I thought that these octopus legs would go well with a bird. So it was a matter of, this was the one that we used previously, so I couldn't use that one. And I tried this one and this one. I cut them both out, and I liked this head better. So then it just became a matter of trying to find something for the head to sit on. And I really didn't want to put a neck on this one, mostly because he was so fat here, and there really wasn't a really good way to trim it down like we did on Tenny Bird, how we trimmed that piece out right there. So I knew I needed to have something that his head could sit on. And yes, I could have used any of these pieces, but the real key for me was, because these octopus legs were long, I needed to have something that was fairly short, and this one was too long. We'd already used that. So a lot of this had already been cut up. This one was too long. So that's kind of how I went through. I originally, when I was first designing this, I tried this and put the head on that piece because I thought this would be a good skirt. And it looked okay, but it was kind of dark, and I really wanted to have something with a little more color. And as far as the borders, as I've said before, the borders are whatever you like. And so I just went through and found a border that I liked, and that's what I used. And I really like that it's all in one piece, like these are. This is the real advantage of these kits, one of the advantages of these kits, and that you have borders that are pre-designed already, and it makes it super simple. Of course, you can cut these up and mix and match them. They go great together in all different ways. But that's really how this guy came together. And then I decided after I'd had this, I just did a dry fit and laid it down here. I decided it needs something behind it, and that's when I put the house in. So pretty simple how it came together. So now let's go build this bird. Okay, so before we start our borders, I'm going to go ahead and cover up this black splotch. And I took a piece of another piece of paper that I have. It's 2 1/8 wide and 4 1/8 long, and it fits just perfectly over that. So I'm going to go ahead and, just as I've told you before with the bone folder, just give it a little pull like that so it curls. And again, I know it seems counterintuitive, but this actually helps it to lie flat. So we'll go ahead and glue that down. And it really doesn't matter how you put it. I'm going to just put it over here and just stick it to that corner. Just like that. I'm going to use my cloth and burnish it down. Okay, so the next thing is to put on this border. So I've already used my bone folder and got that ready to go. And this only has one border that I've put on, and then a little piece. So I just lay it along that edge. We've done borders enough now that I think you know how to do them. And burnish that down. And then there's a little purple piece right down here, and this was left over from the other purple piece that we cut off on Rosebud. But any piece that you have, just a small little piece right here to finish off this edge. So whatever you've got, if you've got the purple, that'll work. And again, we're just trying to give the bird a place to be grounded to. Okay, so the backgrounds are done. The next thing we're going to do is start building the bird. Well, I guess we need to put on this house because it sits behind that bird. So just about, you want to make sure you've got enough room for the roof, which just sits right on top like that, and the clouds. So right about there. So just kind of do a dry layout with yours and see what works best. And we'll go ahead and glue that down. This one's going to go together really quickly. Finish it. And you can see on my roof, I brought it down really close to the windows, and my little scallops are going facing downward as opposed to upward. So either way, but that's how I put them on mine. So facing down and really close down to the windows. See, I got this maybe a little bit high, but it'll be fine. I think I'll put the clouds on last. Now we're ready for the legs, and these are a little harder to, so you just gently pull it through just to give it a little bit of a bend. And so I'm just going to play with this a little bit to see where it would be best. So you can see it's something like that. And then her dress just goes right over. And I actually have it covering part of the door. So I think what I'll do is I kind of like where the legs are right now. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top of her legs. And then put the dress on so that holds them there like that. Okay. Good. Okay, the next thing is to put her head on, and the head actually just sits right on top of that collar. There's nothing special about having to cut anything. So, oh, right. Okay, here's the we have to put this behind it first. So on the Peaceful Dwelling, you can use the sun or this piece. I'm going to be using this piece. And what I want to do is cut this in half. So just cut it directly in half. And then it's going to end up going behind the bird. So you can see how it just goes right to the eye, and it just hangs off there, just like that. So what I think I'll do is put a little glue behind the head and get my piece in place. So it's going to go just like that. Just play with it until you kind of like the way it looks, and I think that's fine. Save this piece, you'll probably use it for something. And then a little glue on the bottom of her head, and just put the head on like that. Okay. See how easy that is? This is a really super quick one. Now I have her head, I'm going to move her head up a little bit so her beak's a little straighter. There we go. Okay, now we need the hand. And the hand actually just sits right on top. So right by that collar, and just like that. So go ahead and glue that down. Okay. And then we're just going to glue her down. If you have a lot of glue on your wax paper, you may want to turn it over so you have a clean surface. And these legs are a little hard to glue. You almost have to just dab it. Let's see, that one came off. Dab it because of the way that they're curled. I'm going to go ahead and put some more glue down after I get her on there. So again, she's covering part of the door, and just kind of spot where you like where she is. Be sure to burnish. I do it at first by just sort of pressing down and pressing out. And then there's some spots here where the legs are not. May have had enough glue, like right here. So just go ahead and you could actually just put it right on your paper there. Sometimes that's easier since it dries clear. And that one's okay. Okay, now we just have to add the clouds, and those came from the Peaceful Dwellings, and these are small. They're very difficult to cut out, but don't worry about it because I ended up going around mine with a colored pencil, and that reformed the clouds. So if you kind of lost the shape, then you can do that. Now, my Home Sweet Home was a stamp that I had. You can write it. You can use, you know, just regular stamps like these and do Home Sweet Home. You could use a stencil. You could put something totally different there. This would be a good place to write if you want to do that. And then the next thing we're going to do is just use our colored pencils and go in and enhance those eyes. Now you can see the eyes are currently brown, but I made mine green. And so what I use the, let's see, on this one it's going to be lime green. Now this is the Crayola, and you just take your time and go over it. Because it's brown, you're going to have to do a lot of layers, and you may have to use a darker green. The Prisma, I'm going to try using this aqua green. The Prisma seems to cover it a little bit better. And I find that, yeah, that's just not wanting to cover that too well for whatever reason. So let's just go ahead and enhance it. This one's called Maroon. Let's try doing that so it'll be closer to the brown. There we go. So that looks fine. And then just enhance the areas. I can see there's a lot of yellow here, right? In here and in here. And this yellow is called golden yellow. And I'm just going to use that. There's a little bit in the eye. And then, as I told you before, don't forget to dot that eye. So I think I will go in. I'm going to use my Faber-Castell Pip Pen and just really highlight that black pupil. So I covered up my white there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put my white dot. Just like that. And I really don't think it needs much enhancement other than that. The collar's pretty crisp in color, and so is the house. Now what you can do with the clouds is just go around them. This pencil color is sky blue, and just go around and sort of fill it in and darken that line around those clouds. And it makes it super simple. It's super simple, and it just really makes them stand out. And so that's what I did on mine. And I think this is done. And if you want to go in and, you know, color your clouds a little darker, you can do that. I also think I went over, on here I went over the roof a little bit. So this is mahogany. And I would just go in and highlight those just to make them stand out a little bit more, especially where some of them might be faint. I think before I call this done, I'm going to darken those cheeks a little bit. So I'm going to use salmon, and I think that'll darken that up nicely. So just a little bit of a circle there. And I can see I need to glue this down a little bit. Now, this is not something you have to do. I just kind of like doing it. I think it makes the nails stand out nicely. So I have a red pen. Here we go. So I have a red Pilot Precise Grip, and I just go over the fingernails. I like the way it looks. Just sort of makes them stand out. So there's just 3 of them, so they stand out a little nicer. And then I'm going to use my Micron pen, and this one's an 02, any size you like. And I just want to do a border, a scratchy border, right along the edge here. And I do it all the way around. And I'm going to do it on all 4 sides. I think it just sort of finishes it off nicely. It's kind of scary when you first do it because you're like, oh, I'm just What if I don't do it right? But you really can't do this wrong. You just scratch on there. And you won't see it so much on here, but just go over it and get that. So you can see how I did it on that one. Okay, I think if there's any other details you want to add, if you want to highlight the doors a little bit or the windows, deepen the colors. So congratulations, you've completed your third Quirky character in the collage series. Great job! Each video I've been trying to give you options to do with your collage piece, which is why I suggested you leave them free for now. So for this time, for the Home Sweet Home, I scanned my bird and I created two things. Actually three things. One is an envelope. So I just made an envelope, reduced the size of the bird, and put him on the outside. And then I also made a card. Now, I'm not a card maker, so be kind. But anyway, I made a little bird, put the bird on here, and just used some of the paper from the kit. Plain white cardstock. I just took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, white cardstock, and cut it in half. And just took one of the clouds from the kit. And then I just, on another cloud that I wasn't using, I just used my hole punch. I had two sizes and just put those there. And then on the inside, I had a stamp that I just put right in there and then just doodled around there. So that was the first thing. And I will, on class 6, we'll go into these in a little more detail. And then the other thing I made was just a little envelope, just a little pocket, I should say. Very simple. Again, use some of the paper from the kit. And where I think this might be really cute is to just put it in your journal. Just use a paper clip and stick it in your journal. And you can put something in here if you want. You want some private journaling, anything like that. So this was super fun, and I'll probably put this in this journal. So again, I will show you how to make this, but it's a pretty sturdy envelope because I did coat it with Mod Podge, and it really changes the feeling of the paper. Okay, so that's it for what I've done here. I will be doing a giveaway. Stay tuned to the end, and I'll be giving these away. So let me show you what you're going to need for our next piece, which is called Veronica. Okay, Veronica has a lot of pieces, which is why we're doing this one last. So this is the paper you're going to use, which you used the half of it for Tenny Bird. So you should have another half left that you're going to use for her. And this is the Follow Your Bliss, and it's paper number 3. If for some reason either you don't have this or it's not wide enough, just use a paper. You can use any paper you have. If it's not wide enough, just go ahead and add on either through washi tape, book page, newsprint, another paper, anything, just to make it wide enough, the 4 1/4, so that you'll have enough to fit in your traveler's notebook. Okay, so that's the paper we're going to use. And let me go through the body pieces. So there's going to be a total of 16 body pieces. So we'll start with those first. So the first thing is this hat, which is Follow Your Bliss, and this piece. The dress, which is right here, is Follow Your Bliss, and this piece. I'm just looking to make sure I'm not missing anything here. For the hair, you want this piece right here, Positive Changes, this piece right here. For the dress, which is down here, you want to cut this piece out, and this flower, which is for that foot. And then I want you to cut this piece out as well. It's a very tiny little sliver that we're going to put across here, but you'll go ahead and cut that out. Follow Your Bliss. It'll be this piece and this piece. So these are the legs. This is the bottom half of the face and the eyes. Again, Follow Your Bliss. positive changes, you want this piece. So we're working here now on the wings on the neck. So this piece and this piece. On positive changes, you want this little flower. That's for this foot right here. And then follow your Bliss. You're basically going to use all of these border pieces. So for the total body count of 16, that little coffee piece you want to cut out, and that will go right across there. And that, oh, and the heart, I'm sorry I didn't finish. The heart, which goes right up here, and then the neck, which is this. And that should give you the total of 16 pieces for the body. Now the border has 6 pieces, and working across, right across here is this one. Coming down on this side is this piece. This right here is this. So I just turned it, well, can't see it very well, but it's just turned upside down. There's nothing down here, so let's start again at this top. This piece right here is this. Then the purple starts right here. That's this one. And then I finished it off with this. So that will be your 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's your border. Okay, so go ahead and get those started. Get your pieces cut out. Use your bone folder to give them a little bit of a bend. Make sure to keep them in a little container so you've got them all together in one spot. And we will go ahead and get started with Veronica in the next week and a half or so. So I'll see you then. I hope you're enjoying the series. Stay tuned for the winners of the cards, envelope, and little pocket. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.